Okay, so today what we're going to do is replace a float valve in a cold storage tank, cold water storage tank in a loft. Now you might notice some dripping in the overflow pipe that comes out just below the eaves. If there's dripping water from there, it's probably that there's an issue with the float valve. The water keeps rising and then effectively hitting the overflow pipe and coming out. So it's probably a washer in here, but these are £6, so I'm going to replace the whole thing because the one we've got here is pretty gunky. So hopefully a fairly easy job. I've also, for £1.50, got a new float. I think the one here is probably fine anyway, but for £1.50 might as well stick a new float on there as well. So let's get to it. So the tools needed today, some slip joint pliers, adjustable spanner, maybe some rubber gloves if you don't want to get your nails dirty, and then a part 2 float valve. They're about £7 or something from Screwfix or somewhere, and optionally a float. You don't necessarily need one of these as yours is in good nick, but if I'm changing it for £1.50 or something, I thought I'd change that as well. So not too much needed in order to do this job. So just turning off the main stopcock here. Sometimes there'll be an isolation valve in the airing cupboard, but we don't have one, so in this case turning off the whole water. Okay, so the water supply should be switched off. Just to check that, if we push it down, no water should come out. So the fact that there's no water coming out there, we know that the water supply is off. Otherwise we'll have a big mess. So it's a little bit cramped, a little bit tricky. What we're going to do is, using the joint pliers, is hold that grip that, and then try and loosen it off. There we are. So once that's slightly loose, should be able to take this out by hand. And what we have now is the old one off. Okay, making sure the washer is still in place. And this is the slightly tricky bit. We need to, this is going to screw on, and it's going to screw on anti-clockwise. Okay, full disclosure, there is a problem with, I think, that nut either being slightly cross-threaded, which means it's not coming onto the new piece. So instead, what I'm going to do is take the old piece, clean it up, replace the washer, and try and resurrect that, because that one will go in. So, bit of a change of plan. We'll do some cleaning up of the old piece and then replace it. As we said, change of plan now. Going to try and replace the old washer, and wherever I can replace parts with the new bits. So giving it a soak, then I'm going to prise the washer out, clean this up, get rid of the lime scale, hopefully fix this one, and then that will work with the existing nut, which seems to be knackered. So DIY, always have a plan B. This is the plan B. Right, let's see how we go. So assuming the sizes are okay, basically just swapping these two bits and put the new washer, diaphragm, etc. in the old housing and see if that works. I'll put it back together now. So now what we have is the original housing, but all the other bits are new. So the new diaphragm and rod, washer, etc. But hopefully with that existing housing, that stupid nut with its cross thread will still work on here. So back up to the loft and fit it, and hopefully that will fix the problem. Right, so making sure we've got the washer and the diaphragm in. Don't know if you can see this with my arm in the way. There we go. Perfect. That goes on nicely. Much better. Right. So get it finger tight. There we go. Make sure that's tight up as well. And then using the spanner, we'll just tighten it up a bit. It's going anti-clockwise. There we go. I think that should be okay. So not over tight, and then looks good. So just putting on the new float, not strictly necessary. So the float's on now. I'm going to put the water on and adjust the level of the float so that the water stays a couple of inches below the overflow pipe. So put the water on and hope that it doesn't explode. Okay, so let's, the water's now coming through. What I'm going to do is just raise that slightly. Level to up a little bit more. Okay, so that's about it. And that's pretty good. Just tighten up that nut and I think we're good to go. I'm going to run some cold water now, make sure that it drops, it fills, but that's pretty much it. So despite our slight issue with the cross thread, it's actually a pretty straightforward job. If it wasn't for that, it would be a 10-minute job. But actually, as you can see with these valves, they're pretty interchangeable. So we've taken all the other pieces and replaced it, just leaving that sort of the main unit there, and that's worked. So no more drips, hopefully no more overflow. Keep an eye on it. I'll come back in a couple of hours, make sure once the heating's all running and what have you that there's no problems, but I think that's pretty much job done. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's useful, and see you soon. Bye. Okay, so run some water out. The level of the tank has dropped, therefore the float has dropped and the valve has come on. So just check that it turns on at the right level. In a couple of inches more we need in here. Just a small trickle now coming out. If the float rises with the level of the water, it's shutting off the valve, which is stopping the flow, which is what we want. A couple of inches below the overflow pipe. I'm just going to wait a few minutes to check that it does completely shut off when the float rises to the full level, and check that that level is correct. But assuming that's the case, then it's time for a beer, put away the tools. A day's good job, that is. There we go. No water dripping.
that's it.
I hope that was helpful. Please like and subscribe and check back for more videos. Thanks. Bye.